understand.
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, good late afternoon. Once again, it is your boy Louis Sports Network coming right back to you with another heavy hitter banger with yet another video. In this live stream, we are talking about Wrestlemania post-game show, Wrestlemania 36, where I break down the matches that happened on WrestleMania night for day 2. And I'm going to talk about WrestleMania overall, and then pretty much give my thoughts on what I thought about the WrestleMania show overall as a product. So again, if you guys haven't, make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Shout out to Wrestling's and One Sky who says what's up. What's up to you? Smash the like button and make sure you hit that subscribe button as you guys come in, man. Louis Sports Network giving you some of that wrestling content as he always tries to do. So, get back, hang back, relax, and, we're going to get into it. First and foremost, let me know what you guys thought of the WrestleMania card overall, not just for Saturday, but for Sunday, because we had a 2-day event. So let me know what you guys thought about WrestleMania in the comments section below. And then after that, let me know how your day is going. I hope everybody's staying safe. And then once we go through that, we'll break down matches. We'll break down all the matches and decide pretty much, how the events went, and then what my final grade on the show, Case of the Immortals. Shout out to Kid Glory who says, what's up? He says, Wrestling's and Watch Guy says, not bad. Again, make sure you guys are smashing that like and make sure you guys are hitting that subscribe button as you guys come in. I do have another live stream coming up. It is called Jordan's Eastern Conference Competition. So make sure y'all pull up for that one. That is going to be coming up in just about a little over an hour. So make sure you guys pull up for that one. We're going to have a lot of fun with that one. And Kid Glory says he's glad that Drew beat sorry Brock Lesnar. All right, we're going to get into all the details. We're going to get into all the details, and we're going to break down the matches for both nights. So remember that we gave the prediction. We gave the predictions on, Saturday, a couple of hours right before the event. Wrestling's M1 Scott says he liked it. Okay, that's fine. That's cool. Okay, so again, hopefully more people come in. Make sure you guys subscribe. We're talking WrestleMania 36 post-game show. I know usually you do post-games immediately after, the event, since it was the second one. All right, so we're going to do the grades. We're going to read, let's go to the recap. So let me just wait real quick 1 second, guys. Let me pause this real quick. There we go. Okay. Let's see. So we had Cesaro going up against Drew Gulak. My opinions on Cesaro against Drew Gulak. I thought that the match was good. It was very solid, but the match was very short. I thought that the match was very good, but it was very short. Wrestling One Sky also says Braun winning against Goldberg was weird and crazy. I'm going to get to that match. And I agree with you, and I'm actually going to explain why I thought it was weird. But we're going to get to that match. So I was looking at Bleacher Report, guys, and I thought they kind of overrated WrestleMania a bit. So I'm looking at it like they were very good, but it was like I kind of thought to myself, that was a little too much in terms of some of the matches, because you could almost make the case that some of them weren't even matches. So I like Cesaro and Gulak. I thought it was a solid opener. I think if they had more time, I think that this would have been a lot better. I thought that their chemistry was very good. Gulak had came in and he pretty much took it to Cesaro. He threw him twice into the ring steps. Cesaro was able to counter him with the European uppercut, as he always likes to do. And he pretty much did the no hands airplane spin into a slam. And so Cesaro ends up winning the match. And I gave it CBS gives it a C. I know Bleacher Report Bleacher Report gave it B, but I'm always iffy about Bleacher Report because I think that they overgrade some of the matches. I would have given that. I gave that match a C because of just how short it was, but I think I would have given it about a B to a B plus had they had more time. Kid said, "Talk that shit, man. They overhyped it for real. I thought it was a little too overhyped. Bleacher Report did a poor job of grading, in my opinion. They overhyped a lot of the matches. King Glory says the best match was Styles and Taker. I'm going to get to that in a second. I'm going to even tell you what my favorite matches were for the night. So we got the Women's Tag Team Championship. We had the Kabuki Warriors against Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. I thought that was also another solid match. I thought that the Kabuki Warriors did a very good job being heels. They did great. And I thought that Alexa Bliss, to me, she adjusted much better than the other competitors in terms of how to pretty much compete in an empty arena, because I felt that the Kabuki Warriors and Nikki Cross were kind of a little overwhelmed because there were a few kind of hit-miss spots in the match, and I thought Alexa executed her performance very well, for being in an empty arena. And for those who don't know, we were in the Performance Center in Orlando, Florida for WrestleMania 36. So Alexa was able to hit Twisted Bliss, and Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross defeated the Kabuki Warriors to become the brand new women's tag team champions. The grade that I would give that match would be, you could say, a tweener between a B minus and a B. I'm going to probably lean towards a little more towards B minus though. And congratulations to them. This is their second reign. So now we got King Corbin. He says, I'm going to say D plus. All right. All right, man. Let him talk. He says D plus. That's fine, man. It's all opinionated. All right. So King Corbin against Elias. This match felt rushed for me. It not only just felt rushed, but it felt pointless to even be on the card, to be honest with you, between these two. I know that there was a little bit of action. There was a little bit of action to kind of make up for what kind of match this was. So I have to give both competitors credit. But for this match, I would give it a C minus between Corbin and Elias. But I felt like that match should have not even been on the card, to be honest. So I'm not even going to bother with that one. Okay, so that was a C minus between King Corbin and Elias. Here we go. So the next match we have is the Raw Women's Championship between Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler. Now, the X factor of this whole match, whether Baszler was going to become the new champion or Becky Lynch retaining the title, was going to be the status of Ronda Rousey. Now, Ronda Rousey never interfered in the match. Shout out to Anthony L, who says, "What's up? Appreciate you." And again, guys, make sure you smash the like button, hit that subscribe, and I will be back for I will be doing the Jordan's Eastern Conference competition. That is coming up at 30, so make sure you guys pull up for that. And again, continue to smash the like button and continue to hit the subscribe for the Louis Sports Network. I appreciate you guys for coming through. Hope everybody is staying safe, quarantine on this Monday afternoon, and I hope everybody had a great weekend. So continuing with Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler, I don't know. I wasn't feeling the match, to be honest with you. I know Bleacher Report was saying that these ladies did a wonderful job and, going back and forth, but I don't know. There was just something about that match that was really off. Can I just tell you that Becky Lynch probably did the worst rock bottom that I've seen in my life? And this is supposed to be someone who is, her character is the man, and she's supposed to be the female Stone Cold Steve Austin, while Kevin Owens is filling the spot for the male Stone Cold. But there was just something about this match that was very off for me. But because Shayna Baszler and Becky Lynch are two women that don't really have a lot of offensive repertoires in their move set. They don't have a lot. And I know Shayna comes from a MMA background. She is a cage fighter. I thought that the build-up for Shayna Baszler was very good in terms of her being a dangerous monster heel. Becky has had an incredible year. I don't know how if some people want the belt to be off of Becky. Let me see. Whatchamacallit? Kid Glory says, in all honesty, what happened to my boy Finn Balor? That boy was a beast. I mean, right now he's in the NXT. I don't know. I'm kind of surprised they didn't kind of bring him up if there was anything going on, but no. Let me see. Before I continue, Kid Glory says, let me join that Michaels competition stream with you. I'm definitely tuning in. All right, cool. Sounds good, Kid Glory. No doubt. All right, make sure y'all pull up. Like I said, basketball fans, make sure y'all pull up for that. And continue to like the video and continue to subscribe. We're giving WrestleMania post-game reactions on the Louis Sports Network as I continue to talk about the Shayna Baszler Becky Lynch match. Now, as I was saying, Becky Lynch took a lot of punishment, and Baszler was pretty much on the attack for most of the match. It was very physical. Like I said, I give the ladies credit for competing. Don't get me wrong, but there was a lot of things just off about the match. Some of the moves were just not great. But it's like I said before, they don't have a really nice offensive repertoire when it comes to the package that they're supposed to that they should have, or that they could have, to where they could go to many moves and not make it kind of so stale. But because they're kind of so limited, these guys look much better with wrestlers that are multidimensional. So much more well-rounded female athletes would actually make them look even better in the ring. With all due respect to them. So Becky Lynch was caught in the Kirifuda clutch by Baszler, but I was really upset with the finish too. The finish was what I was not happy with. And the funny thing was, I actually picked Becky to retain her championship. But the X factor was Ronda Rousey. But because Ronda Rousey did not appear, because they thought that she was going to screw Becky Lynch and have Baszler win, but because that didn't happen, Becky ended up getting that backwards roll-up pin while being in the Kirifuda clutch by Shayna Baszler, and she was able to retain the championship. I think what's going to happen now, guys, is I think that they're going to be setting up a future match, because they said that they're going to keep the rivalry going between Baszler and Lynch. So that's why Becky won. But I think it's because Ronda Rousey is reportedly supposed to come back. So if she comes back, I believe that the WWE is going to set up a match between Lynch and Rousey. And most likely we're probably looking at somewhere in the summertime for SummerSlam. That's the projected pay-per-view for them two to go at it. And I'm guessing that they probably might make Becky hold the title for that time, or she gets screwed out of the title and they go one-on-one, and Ronda Rousey goes off saying how she, got screwed after losing the title at WrestleMania and stuff like that. So I think that's what's going to happen, and one of those two things are going to happen. But let me know what you guys think on that. Hit that like button and sub to my boys channel. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. We got 3 people watching right now. Continue to smash the like and hit that subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so now that we're through Becky Lynch and we're through Shayna Baszler, Becky Lynch wins. The grade got a B. It got a B minus. I hate to say it, but that to me was a C, at the very best, a C plus, at the very best. And I like how CBS is grading it, because Bleacher Report went over the top with the grades that they were giving. They gave the Sami Zayn Daniel Bryan match an A plus, and I'm like, that was not an A match. I'm sorry, that was not an A match. They were making Sami more so like a beggar, which is his character right now. And listen, Sami Zayn can wrestle. I mean, his matches with Kevin Owens and a lot of the NXT stars, in the NXT, the match that he had with John Cena in the US Open Challenge, I mean, why would you ruin that and make him a beggar? Because that's his character now with Cesaro and with Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm just kind of like, and with the way that Daniel Bryan is, I was expecting a classic. But And also for those who don't know, Sami Zayn is Canadian and he is Syrian. That is his ethnic background. All right, so it basically says the story of the match was almost entirely Sami Zayn begging Drew Gulak to let him go. And see, that's what I didn't like about the match. I didn't like the story that it was basically saying. The match was okay. It could have been better, but I just didn't like what they made Sami Zayn do. It took a good feel out of that match. And I'm like, with the two guys that are in that ring, that should be a lot better. But because they didn't do it, I was not feeling that match like as much. So here's the thing. So Zayn begged Bryan to stop before Shinsuke caused a distraction. Bryan hit Nakamura with the suicide dive. He went to the top rope, but was called by a haluva kick from Zayn, and Zayn keeps the Intercontinental Championship. I actually picked Daniel Bryan to win this matchup, but he did not. So Sami Zayn retains his championship. That was and thank you CBS Sports. Shout out to CBS Sports. Their sentiment is what I'm thinking right here. The match told a perfectly good story in line with recent weeks of action, but there's certain sense of disappointment that Zayn and Bryan weren't able to go out and put on the match that they're capable of with their elite skills. That was really my issue with this match. With the way that the story was going, if the match was able to complement the story, this would have been an A+ match for me. But because the match didn't add to the buildup, that's why I said that it kind of short-lived expectations. So it gets a B. And the only reason it's getting a B is because of, like I said, the buildup was actually very good. It's just too bad that the match didn't had of equal or at least higher value. Okay, so Sami Zayn retains the championship. Now, we have the SmackDown Tag Team Championship between John Morrison, Kofi Kingston, and Jimmy Uso. So originally, it was supposed to be a triangle ladder match with the three teams. The problem is the Miz got sick. So because he got sick, it was an unfair advantage to put Morrison with the Usos, with Jimmy and Jay, and with the New Day with Kofi Kingston and Big E. So what the WWE decided to do is pull the carpet out from under the rug at the last second. Is they took out Big E and they took out Jay, and so they had a triple threat match for the tag team championships between Morrison, Kingston, and Jimmy Uso. I thought the athleticism, the way that they used the ladders, I thought was very show stealing like. It's just crazy. It sucked because if they had the crowd, oh my goodness, if there was a crowd in this match would have gave it such a nice feel, which was missing. A match like this needs a crowd, especially with the athleticism of all three guys. It needs a crowd. And that's what sucks about not having the crowd. It's certain matches that you would have loved to have a crowd, and this was one of them. So, because you have a triangle ladder match for a chance, to win the tag team championships. Whether it's a Money in the Bank, whether it's a championship, it's exciting, especially when you have the more athletic athletes in there. You picked, and three of the best were in there. So there was a strong chance for disappointment from the bout, but all three men went at a breakneck pace in the singles match for the titles. I thought it was great. Like it had the potential to being kind of a stinker a little bit with some maybe some okay moments, but it actually surprised me. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, especially with Kofi and with John Morrison. The fact that John Morrison has an APAC at 41 years old, the fact that he's that crazy athletic at his age, and for him to pull off the moves that he pulled off on Saturday, it's just no surprise why Morrison is one of the most spectacular athletes, in the WWE and in his wrestling career of his time. So the expected big bumps were on display, with men being dumped from ladders onto the outside. Morrison in particular hit an impressive parkour move from the top of the ring post onto Uso. The one thing I didn't like, though, was the camera work from when Jimmy got thrown off the ladder. I know that they had to edit that part out, which it kind of sucked. That was one of those spots that I didn't like. Morrison hit an impressive parkour on Uso, who was on an elevated ladder between the turnbuckles. The ending of the match came when this was what I didn't like, the ending. When all three guys were fighting for the belts, they all three had hands on them. Next thing you know, Morrison gets pushed off the ladder, and then he lands on his back on the ladder that was pretty much planted sideways horizontally, and then the championships fall down, and then Jimmy and Kofi are standing there in a state of shock, still holding on to the to the hanger that's holding on to the belt, and Morrison just picks him up and he wins the championship, and I was like, that's some old BS, man. So I didn't like the ending on that, you know. And I didn't like the ending. That was the only thing, but it was a great match. And if the crowd was in this match, I would have gave this match an A+ because the execution of the high flying moves, the use of the ladders, all three men putting their hearts out, it was great. So it was saying like the end of the match came when all three were holding the title rig. As Uso unhooked it from the cable suspending from the ceiling. As they battled over the belt, Morrison knocked it from the top, pulling the belts with him to earn and retain the championships. And I picked Morrison and Miz to retain. That's exactly what happened. So that's a win for me. The Spanish Fly. So they retain. All right. So before I go to this next one, shout out to Kid Glory who says, Lewis, what are your thoughts on R-Truth winning the 24/7 championship for the 20th time? I heard that boy won it so many times his picture is under the word champion. Let's be honest. This is the reincarnation of the Hardcore Championship. That's what the 24/7 title is. Anthony L., you are speaking facts, my man, but I'm going to get to that match pretty soon, and I'm going to explain why I was so glad he lost, despite the fact that it was weird. On to the 24/7 championship. As Rob Gronkowski and Mojo Rawley were celebrating atop the perch, midway through the show, R-Truth hopped into the frame. He was trying to hide. Gronk tried to punch him and pin him, Truth, but Rawley pulled him off and got the 1, 2, 3. Rawley defeated R-Truth and Gronkowski wins the title, right? I'm not going to lie. One of the most entertaining things about the 24/7 championship is anytime it's involved with R-Truth. He's such a very good entertainer that it's the WWE is very fortunate to have R-Truth with that 24/7 championship because he's been one of the few short entertaining things that's happened with that belt. Because like I said, it's a pointless belt to have, but R-Truth has been able to make it work. So that's been the benefit of that. Okay. So yeah, Rawley won, but this is night one, guys. All right. So my opinion on R-Truth winning the championship, it keeps the ratings going and it keeps the entertainment going. So I don't really see that, man. it's no biggie for me, honestly. If you get funny, interesting segments and the crowd likes it, why break it? All right, next match. This one was a very good one. Doesn't get enough credit for the type of match that it was on Saturday. And this is the Monday Night Messiah, Seth Rollins, against KO Mania, Kevin Owens. This match was personal. It was very personal. I was very impressed with the last two promos that both guys delivered. And I say it many times, and I'm going to say it again. The benefit of doing promos in an empty arena is the realism and the fact that you can hear the promos and you can feel the promos a lot more. So that's the benefit of doing the promos instead of hearing the crowd going, what, 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 or chanting CM Punk, CM Punk. It like just kills it. I get it. Fans are bored. They're used to some of the chants that have been going on over the years, but I want to hear what the person's got to say unless it doesn't sound really entertaining or really interesting to want to hear. So what are your thoughts on the Kevin Owens Seth Rollins match, ladies and gentlemen? He says Rollins should have won. I picked KO to win. I had a feeling he was going to win. But the thing is, one of the reasons why Seth Rollins lost, obviously that Kevin Owens had his WrestleMania moment because that was part of it about. And Rollins, he threw the ether in his promo when he was talking about how many WrestleMania moments he had while Kevin Owens has had none. And he's been nothing but a failure and all this kind of stuff. I mean, Kevin Owens has had a pretty good career. He's been a United States champion. He's been the NXT champion. He's been the Intercontinental champion. He's been the Universal champion. So he's done very well for himself. But like Rollins said, when Rollins kind of reminds me of Triple H in the fact that there's moments when he can sound really boring on the microphone, but when Rollins is on and he's really focused when he wants to, Rollins can deliver a really good promo. And the promo that he gave to Kevin Owens 2 weeks before WrestleMania was actually some of the best, was one of his best mic works in quite a while. It was like I was seeing the real Seth Rollins, not the Monday Night Messiah who's trying to be straight edge society CM Punk. Shout out to Jay who says, "Hey Lewis, everybody." Shout out to Jay in the building. Again, smash the like button, hit that subscribe button as you guys come in for the Louis Sports Network. Appreciate everybody kicking it with me on this WrestleMania post-game show, which is a day later. It should have been after, but I was busy with some stuff. But okay, I was very happy with the match. I liked it. I thought it was very competitive. It was very physical. I like the fact that Kevin Owens went on top of the little WrestleMania sign and threw his little elbow on Seth Rollins. I like when Rollins tried to leave by disqualification and Kevin Owens kind of talked Seth into it to come back. As you can read here, Rollins was looking for the easy way out, used the ring bell to hit Owens. He called him out saying he didn't get to end things so easily and demanding that they continue without disqualifications. Rollins agreed, coming back to the attack on Kevin. Taunting, "You said you wanted your WrestleMania moment." Owens eventually used the same ring bell to take over the match before diving from the WrestleMania side and diving onto Rollins through the announce table with a senton. After that, it only took Owens a moment to drag Rollins to the ring. He hit him with a stunner and picked up the victory. The lack of a crowd added a bit to this match, with both men constantly trash-talking each other, and it added a nastiness to the bout it may have missed otherwise. Owens defeated Rollins via pinfall. And I said this is another thing of the benefit of not having the crowd. You can really hear these guys talk to one another, and they were trash talking each other the entire match. So that's why I said that the nastiness that it had, I liked it. So it was a B plus. I was impressed. Now, could they have been a little bit better? Absolutely, because they're capable of even more than that. But I thought that they did pretty. I thought that they were great. This was an underrated match, and it definitely deserved. This was one of the better matches of Saturday night. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's what you are waiting for. The Universal Championship between Goldberg and Braun Strowman. Let me get to the comment section. Anthony L says that he likes the high risk that maneuvers Kevin Owens is taking. What I'm impressed about Kevin Owens is he's very athletic and agile for a guy that weighs 266 pounds. And when you look at Kevin in his body frame, you don't look at him as a wrestler. But the fact that not only can he wrestle, not only can the fact that he can go aerial is what impresses me a lot about Kevin Owens. And Kevin Owens is great on the mic, too. He has very good mic skills. He's entertaining to listen to. And Kid Glory saying, "How are you?" to Jay. And Anthony L says, "I like how he takes chances. He reminds me a little bit of Owen Hart, ironically." I'm interested to hear that part, Anthony L. What is it? What is it about Kevin that reminds you about Owen Hart? I'm interested to know that, man. Let me know about that one in the comments. So now we are champion Braun Strowman and Goldberg. Okay, here's how this went down. Originally, Goldberg went up against The Fiend. He squashed The Fiend so that The Fiend can face John Cena at WrestleMania. Goldberg was the Universal Champion. Roman Reigns stepped to the forefront and was supposed to face Goldberg on Saturday. The issue is Roman has leukemia. And for those who know, Roman has had a history of leukemia, and he's been dealing with leukemia for over a decade. Now, because of the COVID-19 virus, the WWE did not want to take any chances, so they decided to take Roman Reigns out of the Universal Championship. Originally, they had wanted to put in Matt Riddle. It didn't make any sense to put in Matt Riddle. And the timing of taking Roman Reigns out is what had a lot of people thrown off. And I honestly would have loved for Roman to take the title from Goldberg. But At the last minute, they decided to put Braun Strowman. Now, here's what's so weird about it. Braun Strowman has had no build-up. That's what was so strange about it. That's what I didn't understand. Why is it that you're going to put a guy that doesn't even have a build-up, man? Like, it just made no sense. That's what made it so weird. So I'm like, why would you put a guy who hasn't been able to do anything? Um, it was very weird. So I was like, why are they just going to put Strowman like that? I said it's going to, and I thought that Goldberg was going to retain because again, Strowman had no buildup. So then I thought that maybe when Goldberg retains and Roman Reigns is able to compete again, they would have Roman take the belt from him, after. Okay, so the match starts. Goldberg hits 3 spears, well, 4 spears, and then Strowman kicks out. Oh, well, he tried to go for a 4 spear, but then Strowman counters into the power slam. As soon as I see him hit the first power slam, Goldberg is holding onto his back. And the first thing I said was, yeah, he got to go. I said, Braun, pin his ass so we don't have to see his ass again in a WWE ring. Because as much as I loved Goldberg when I was younger and he had this intense enigma about him that just was able to draw the fans in, that dude is one of the most unsafest workers in wrestling history. Bret Hart exposed that on the podcast with Stone Cold Steve Austin. And at first I was like, Bret, you're hating. But then every time I watch Goldberg's matches from his WCW days, this dude is not safe to work with. And I hate to say it, there were things that he did in WCW that he did a lot more than what he was doing in the WWE. But it's like Goldberg, all he can do is really 2 moves. And every time I see him only do 2 moves, it's like, okay, against Brock Lesnar, it was a nice shock value when he first came back. Okay, it was a nice feel-good moment. But again, I'm sorry. The fact that he only does 2 moves and Vince keeps bringing these part-timers to hold championships they have no business holding, all because they bring in money and cash cows, but then it's like the matches, they're just not qualifiable enough. It's like you're giving me quantity over quality, and I'm sorry, Goldberg is not quality. His time is done. I don't want Vince McMahon bringing him back again. Goldberg needs to stay retired and be with his son and his wife. That's it. Okay? If he wants to make WrestleCon appearances, he can do that. He wants to sign autographs, he can do that. He wants to continue to come to Hall of Fame ceremonies, he can do that. If he wants a role in the WWE, that's not a problem either. He could be a mentor to the young guys. But I don't want to see his ass wrestle again. I really don't. It gets tiresome and really boring. Goldberg doesn't do anything for me at this point. The guy is 53 years old. He cannot hang with today's guys. I give him credit. He kept himself in, he looks really good for a guy who's 53 years old. But I'm sorry. No way in hell am I putting that championship back on him again. And if Vince does that, Vince needs to bury his ass 6 feet under and not show his face again and put in his savings account in his grave with him. Because I think it's about time that Triple H becomes the owner of this company. I've been saying this for a while now. So yeah, it didn't make sense, but Braun Strowman ends up winning the championship. The only benefit that I got with Braun Strowman winning was I was just glad. I was just glad that he doesn't have the title and that hopefully he retires. And I'm thinking about this. So just to recap the match, it said it was a quick match. It was as expected. It was expected. I wasn't expecting anything. And the one that very much could have used a crowd reaction. You know why this could have used a crowd reaction? Because Goldberg would have gotten booed heavily, and the crowd would have went crazy for Braun Strowman because Goldberg is not holding the championship anymore. His 53-year-old grandpa-looking ass is done. It's over. It would have been nice. Goldberg was holding his back after the first power slam. That just told you right there. Anyway, Strowman would hit 3 more power slams before scoring the pin to become Universal Champion in a very flat sprint. I give that grade a D-. D+ is being very nice. Okay, let me go into the comments real quick. Shout out to Kid. Anthony L says KO reminds him of Owen Hart because Owen Hart was a daredevil. Sometimes it would work to his detriment because he actually got Austin injured and other wrestlers badly injured because of those risks he used to take. That's true. People forget in 97, Owen was supposed to close his legs on that tombstone when he countered Austin, but Austin's head was completely exposed because Owen forgot to put his knees together to protect his neck. And so his head ended up hitting the canvas and it compressed Austin's spine. From that moment, it was agreed that Austin couldn't wrestle against guys that were going to potentially hurt him. So if you watch the way Austin wrestled, he had to wrestle more differently because of his neck injury. And Austin has had quite a few neck injuries from 97 on. You know, when he wrestled, he was forced to retire early because he had some bad medical conditions. And there was a segment on Monday Night Raw, I believe the night that The Rock beat Stone Cold at WrestleMania 19. Austin, it was the medical segment where Eric Bischoff came out and said that Steve could not compete because he was trying to call out The Rock. But because of his medical problems, because he had been trying to hide it, he had been dealing with neck issues. They decided to use that as that was actually true. Austin did have neck issues. That was true. But they decided to use that as the storyline for Austin to retire. Austin actually retired at WrestleMania 19. So his career fell short due to injuries. Okay, Gloria says, of course. Anthony L says, I'm not putting Kevin in the same category as Owen, but his willingness to go outside the box and take risks is what reminds me of him. Okay, that's a nice comparison. Kid Glory says, that boy Brett, a legend, man. Never injured anyone in his career and was a phenomenal technician. Thank you. I'm glad you mentioned that, kid, because Brett talked about that with Stone Cold. There was a time, I believe it was SummerSlam of 94, when he went up against Owen. There was a moment in that cage match, and it was for the WWE title. Bret Hart went to the top of the cage, and he suplexed Owen from the top of the cage. When Bret explains it in his DVD that he came out with, this was about nearly 20 years ago. He says that the way he suplexed Owen, he wanted to protect him from so that Owen didn't injure his neck. Because if he did not protect him the right way, if he has suplexed him differently, Owen probably, we be talking about Owen with a badly bruised neck, had he not landed properly, man. And Anthony L says the problem with Goldberg is that he never evolved his character. It's the same old played out WCW crap. Thank you. Yeah, so like Anthony L was saying, like I agree with Anthony L. Why didn't Goldberg develop his character? It's funny how he complained to Vince about the things that he was seeing at the time that he retired against Brock Lesnar when they had the WrestleMania 20 match. It was one of the most anticipated matches in WrestleMania history. The issue was Brock Lesnar was leaving the company because I think his contract was up. Goldberg did not want to renew his contract because he didn't like in the direction that the WWE was going, and he didn't like the characters that he portrayed some of the superstars in the locker room. So he decided to leave. And that's why the fans were not happy with the match, because the match kind of underwhelmed and it was not great. But Anthony L is speaking facts. The fact that Goldberg never really evolved as his character, it's one thing to not evolve it's one thing to not evolve his character, but it's another thing with the fact that he can't do nothing else in the ring if it's not a jackhammer or the spear or both. That's what makes it so. That's what makes me. I'm so tired of Goldberg now. I'm just tired. Like WCW, he had his run, man. Even early WWE. And Kid Glory says that Lesnar didn't deserve to be Universal Champion for 550 days straight. That's what I'm saying, man. He's another guy. Lesnar could do more. He can wrestle. My problem is they keep making him into this German suplex machine, man. I'm sorry. I can't stand it. German suplex here. German suplex. Suplex. back suplex, belly to back suplex. That's all he does. Suplex, 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 suplex. Because it's supposed to be so-called Suplex City, B. But come on, it's crazy. And Kick Lewis said, "Talk to him, Lewis. 53-year-old grandpa looking ass. Wow, talk to him." And Anthony L says that Stu Hart dungeon breeded a lot of great legends. Absolutely. You're talking about the Dynamite Kid, the British Bulldog, Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho. So many greats have trained in the Stu Hart dungeon. Obviously the Hart brothers. They get their toughness from their father and being in that dungeon. Jay says, "I'd rather see an older man than that steroid boy Brock Lesnar." I don't want to see either one of them. Lesnar needs to go too. He's another one. And besides, Paul Heyman's promos are getting very stale every time he comes. "Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman." Like, he needs to change it up. I know Paul Heyman could deliver better promos than that. I know he could do a hell of a lot better than that. So let's see. All right, now let me check the comment once again. Brock has more suplex moves than Yugi has Dark Magicians. Right? I love Yu-Gi-Oh, by the way. One of my favorite shows. Okay, now let's get to the match of the night, in my personal opinion. Y'all ready for this, fellas? The Undertaker against AJ Styles in the first ever Boneyard match. Now, I got to give WWE creative team a lot of credit for this. They was able to have The Undertaker keep his dead man powers, but bring back the American Biker Taker, American Badass persona. Kudos to AJ Styles for making this personal to bring out Biker Taker, to bring out the American Badass. I thought it was great. I thought the inclusion of Carl Anderson and Gallows were great too. Now, for those who were saying this was not a great match, this was not a match, ladies and gentlemen. What this was a horror film with a fight scene in a horror film. This was one of those Lifetime movie moments. And Undertaker and AJ, they just fought. They traded punches. This was a cinematic scene, folks. And it deserves an Oscar for the performance that everybody played. First of all, I got to give WWE a lot of credit for being very creative. Whatchamacallit? Wait, I was just saying something. I was just thinking about something. So again, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you smash the like and make sure you guys hit that subscribe as you guys come in. Again, shout out to Tomoko for coming through. By the way, I did enjoy that Floyd Mayweather video, and if you guys haven't, make sure you guys go subscribe to Tomoko's channel. So getting back to that match, again, that was a fight at a graveyard site, and they picked a very nice scene. They had Undertaker rolling into Metallica. I thought that was really nice. I like how AJ came out of the casket with the Druids coming in a hearse. I thought that was really creative. It's funny. I really thought Taker was in there until they showed AJ. That was really nice. Undertaker fighting other Druids and Anderson and Gallows. And I laughed when AJ was in the trailer after he had hit the Undertaker in the back with the shovel. But if you notice how AJ hit him, he didn't hit him with the metal part. He took the wooden part and he hit the Undertaker to where it broke. And I'm pretty sure that they kind of broke a piece of it just to make it breakable, obviously. Good job, WWE. You can't get that stuff noticed now. Like, I can see all that stuff happening. But what was cool was, okay, it's the end of the Undertaker. He's about to get buried. We're about to bury his entire gimmick, his persona. He can't get back for what AJ said about Michelle McCool and how Undertaker said her Faith Breaker was better than his Styles Clash, and calling Gallows and Anderson a pair of ass clowns. So that was really funny. But then as he's about to bury him, he was like, Taker comes back up and then the light sheds. And then AJ turns around and he was like, you was just in there, man. He said, you was just under that. You were just in the grave. How did you get out the grave? You were just in there, right? So Taker put on an amazing performance. Remember, guys, he just turned 55. So he looked as good as he did. At least I got to also give AJ credit for making Taker better than how he's looked in the last few years. And kudos to the Undertaker for being in better shape. Mr. Mark Calloway. Let's see. Kid Glory says, Brock Lesnar, shut that shit up, Paul. Tomoko says, hey, Lewis, since you enjoyed my Floyd Mayweather Jr. video, I just want to say that I believe Manny Pacquiao defeated him in the Maypac fight. I scored 116-112. I know, considering what a lot of people were saying, they considered that Pacquiao was the guy who should have won the fight. Again, I kind of feel a little different towards that, but you know what I'm saying? But again, it's fine, man. I love Pacquiao. Pacquiao is one of my all-time favorites as well. So, yeah, they were a little bit biased toward Mayweather. They were. A lot of Mayweather fanboys came in and they're like, oh, my God, you hating on Mayweather, man. You just hating on him. I'm like, no, man. It's like Mayweather is great at what he does, but you can make a case that he should have about maybe 3 to 4 losses on his resume. It still doesn't discredit the fact that he would have been, 46-4, 47-3, 48-2, 49-1. The guy's a Hall of Famer, and he's defeated some of the top fighters in boxing history. So come on now. Is UC from 5DS? All right, cool. I never watched beyond the first Yu-Gi-Oh, though. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, so continuing, like I said, the WWE created team deserves a lot of credit. The execution of the match was awesome. Taker ends up burying AJ Styles, and he pretty much whooped his behind after that. Chokeslammed him off the top of the little house. And he said that he wasn't going to bury AJ Styles. That was funny. He said he wasn't going to bury AJ because of the fight that he put off. I like how Taker was patting him, and he was like, he said, "You all right, man? You fought your ass off, man." He said, "What's my wife's name now?" When he chokeslammed him off, he's like, "You know my wife's name? What's her name?" So yeah, he brutalized AJ, throwing him off the barn roof. He kicked him into the grave, and he pretty much filled the grave. And I love how, and people forget, if you look at Taker's promo, he already had the little tombstone in the back with AJ Styles. Resting in peace. And I love how when they put AJ in the grave, it already was engraved, and he just kind of pulled off the sheet off the tombstone. And then they showed AJ, and then they show AJ, with his hand up, covered in dirt, kind of like what Undertaker's been through when he would be buried alive and you would see his hand pop up. So I thought it was a nice touch. I thought that, like I said, it felt like it was campy. At times it seemed corny, but I gotta admit that this was not a match. It was a movie. It was a movie segment. It felt like one of those 10-minute, 15-minute short films, and it was actually pretty entertaining. It was pretty entertaining. So I got to give the WWE a lot of credit on that, and they deserve an A for me. So I gave the Undertaker AJ Styles Boneyard match. Here's the thing that I hated. I didn't like the fact that the Firefly Funhouse match and the Boneyard match were all considered matches. They just called it match, but it wasn't a match. It was a different element. It was something different. I don't know why they didn't call it the Taker and Styles meet at the Boneyard site, or something different. But they didn't do that. But so yeah, I gave it an A. So let's be honest. The matches of the night for Saturday were the tag team match, Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins, and Taker versus AJ Styles. Taker and AJ pretty much was ladder match. In terms of climactic Cinemax featured film, when it came to storytelling, I thought the storytelling was the best with Undertaker and AJ, while in terms of an actual wrestling match would have to be the ladder match, in my personal opinion. So that's the night for night one. Okay, now we're going to go into night two. And again, guys, make sure you smash the like. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe. Let's go into the comment section real quick. Anthony L says, why was Undertaker looking like a pink iced tea from Law and Order? You know what's crazy? When he was breathing, I was like, yo, Ice-T need to go to the hospital. I'm like, yo, it looked like I was like, yo, Ice-T got asthma. Because he was looking like Ice-T, you know, with his little ponytail, his little braided ponytail. He got pigtail in the back. Anthony L says, well, it was nice to see Taker back, man. He looked like he chugged a 12-pack of Coors by himself. You know what's so crazy, man? Undertaker came into that Boneyard match like if we were watching an episode of Sons of Anarchy. If anybody knows that show, man, it felt like Undertaker was one of those characters from Sons of Anarchy. That's what it felt like when he came, you know, Strowman in his bike, Roman into Metallica. But it's true. Taker did look like he could be putting up some cold ones. Tomoko's like, I thought Floyd won rounds 1 through 4 and Manny won rounds 5 through 12. I didn't agree with the scorecards that the judges had. Yeah, some of the judges were very biased towards Mayweather. The judges were biased towards him. Yeah, they were. I saw the fight again. I felt like Mayweather got some of the benefits of the judges with the scorecard. Mayweather would dodge Pac until Pac had another set of injuries. Mayweather dodged quite a few until the turns were 100% in his advantage. I kept saying that, and people were like, oh, no, he beat him fair and square, this and this and this. And I said, no. Pacquiao he had a rotator cuff coming into that fight, and Mayweather accepted it. And the crazy part is, even with a bad rotator cuff, you could still make the case that Pacquiao won that fight. And Jay says Mayweather was dirty and some of the refs helped with as well. I can't argue with that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so we are going into night number 2. So night 2, we have Liv Morgan and Natalya. That was the kickoff show. I hate to say it, but I'm not even really paying attention to this match. That really didn't interest me. Liv Morgan defeats Natalya. They gave the grade a C+. But I didn't really pay attention to it. That was actually the one match I did not see. Okay, now, this one was actually one of my favorite matches for Sunday. NXT Women's Champion Rhea Ripley against Ric Flair's daughter, the cash cow of the WWE, Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair came into this match with, obviously, she has the pay-per-view record. I just mentioned she's the cash cow of the WWE, Vince's favorite female superstar. I got to say, the very first match in the main card, it delivered. It was great action. Both ladies, it delivered in a big way, guys. They battled for almost a half an hour. The near falls were so convincing. That's what I loved about this match. Ripley was able to hit the riptide very early in the match, but she couldn't get the 3 count. Charlotte was able to storm back in the match, and she put out an all-out assault on the leg, and that was the key. That was the key in the match. And I know that this is all scripted and all that, but the leg was actually, it was the difference. Even though Ripley, she gave a great effort. She fought off of Flair's trademark figure 8 multiple times throughout the bout, storming back again and again. Ripley even locked Flair in her inverted standing clover league submission, but she wasn't able to get her to tap out, right? Finally, the accumulated damage to her leg caught up to her, and Flair was able to lock in the submission, putting the figure 8, putting the bridge, added the pressure, and she tapped out and won the title. So after the match was over, I gave them both a standing ovation for the performance that both of these ladies put on. Rhea Ripley is a star. Now, what the WWE plans to do with her, I don't know. I think to keep her safe, she should be still stay in the NXT. I don't think it would make sense to put her on the roster, especially after losing the championship. But Rhea Ripley is going to be a major player for years to come in the WWE. I like her a lot. I really do like her a lot. The build-up for this match was great too. But here's the thing. I thought Rhea Ripley was going to win this match because Charlotte really didn't have anything going for her in the fact that she has really nothing to prove because she's pretty much done it all. And she's only been on the main roster for what, 5 years? Or it's going to be 6 by September of 2020. But the thing with Charlotte is, I know why Vince put the championship on her. Because if you look in the NXT, there's a lot of talent down there. And with Charlotte as champion, they're treating her like Finn Balor. They put Finn Balor down there to create rivalries with some of the younger talent in NXT. With Charlotte being the NXT Women's Champion and the female roster full with talent, now there's a lot of potential rivalries that Charlotte can have. Being a main event veteran, coming back to the NXT, and this is a great opportunity to push other stars so that they could be able to push them up into the main card when they call them up. And this is going to pretty much benefit the WWE draft. So me personally, at first I thought Rhea Ripley was going to win because Charlotte had nothing to prove, and it'd be a nice way to push Rhea. But then I can understand though. I can understand. So I think that was I thought that was very good by Vince because of money reasons. I thought that was very smart. So in terms of the money that Vince can make by putting Charlotte back in the NXT as the top dog in the NXT women's locker room was actually a very smart move on Vince's part. Oh, and Kid Glory says he remembers that show. It used to be on Spike TV. So again, kudos to both women. I give that match an A. It deserves an A. It deserves an A. Okay, let me go to the comments before I get to the Aleister Black Bobby Lashley matchup. Okay, Kid Glory. Let me see. He says he remembers the NXT used to be on Spike TV. Natalie isn't a good wrestler, in my opinion. She's just a good talker only. Oh, he's talking about, I guess, Natalya. And Kid Glory's doing that, Charlotte. Woo! Jay says Pac couldn't speak on his injuries until after the fight. Only way Mayweather will fight Pac is if Pac had those injuries. Pac took the payday, understandable. Why did Jesus say that the least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than John the Baptist? This is one of the mysteries of Jesus' teachings that is still debated. Rhea Ripley is fire and gave a great effort. Facts. Rhea never lost to Charlotte. Fun fact. Got it. Did you know there's a description of an angel in the Bible with cool features? It's called cherubim. I hope I said that right. It has 4 wings, 4 faces of a man, a lion, an ox, and an eagle, ox feet, and human hands. I think I've seen that. Cool. I was wondering what it meant. Thank you for letting us know, Tomoko. As always, Tomoko will give random facts, whether they're weird or not, but always explains what it means, and that's why I appreciate Tomoko so much. All right, getting to Aleister Black and Bobby Lashley. Again, another pointless match that did not need to be here. But I will say this, though, about the Aleister Black and Bobby Lashley match. I thought that this match was actually pretty solid, believe it or not. Believe it or not, I thought this was very solid. The problem is that it's not going to get as high of a grade because this match followed right after Rhea Ripley against Charlotte Flair. If this match was somewhere in the middle, I think that this match would have probably gotten a higher grade and these two probably could have put in a little more time. But because they were right after, I knew that was going to be kind of doomed. But I have to give Aleister Black and Bobby Lashley a lot of credit. So Bobby Lashley is with Lana. They made Aleister Black win the matchup. And because apparently Lana was telling him instead of setting up his his other finishing move to spear him, and then it ended up costing him the match. And so I think the WWE is pretty much setting up a breakup between Bobby Lashley and Lana. And what I'm saying is that what was the point of putting Bobby Lashley with Lana? I just felt that stupid storyline of her breaking up with Rusev and getting with Bobby. Number one, they forced it, and number two, it just didn't make any sense. There was no sense in making of that. That's what I was upset about with those two even being together. I know the memes were going crazy though when they first were together, but man, that CJ, aka Lana, that's one baddie right there. One baddie. I also like Rhea Ripley too. All right, so we got Otis. Now this match has a soft spot in my heart for a few reasons. So Otis against Dolph Ziggler. Obviously, we got the Sonya Deville and the Mandy Rose factor. That Mandy Rose is such a baddie, let me tell you. I would trade places with Otis in a heartbeat. He is a lucky bastard, that Otis. So what I loved about this match was the match was not great, but the storytelling was really good, and it had a feel good story at the ending. Otis finally gets the girl. That's what I love. That's what I liked about it, and it's like it was just right. You know, that's what I appreciated about that match. It was just right that he got the girl at the very end. Mandy finds out, you know, Sonya Deville was the one sending the text to Otis and all this kind of stuff, and then she pretty much becomes an enemy of Sonya Deville. They go at it. And Dolph Ziggler, who thinks he's Shawn Michaels and Billy Gunn at the same time. Shout out to King G in the building. So appreciate King G coming through. Again, ladies and gentlemen, make sure y'all smash the like and hit that subscribe button for your boy, Louis Sports Network, man. Truly appreciate everybody coming through for this. And I'm going to get through the matches as quick as possible. We're going to take a little bit of a break and then come back for the Michael Jordan Eastern Conference competition that's coming up at around 8:30. I might actually push the time back a little bit just so that I give you guys a little bit of time, but we're definitely going to come through for that. All right, so make sure y'all stay tuned for that. I'm here to show the world. Yeah, Mr. I'm here to show the world, Dolph. And then Mandy comes into the ring and he's like, Mandy, you're ruining everything. And shout out to 6'200", man, subscriber to the channel. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate it. So he comes out and he's like, Mandy, you're ruining everything. And she gives him the low blow. And Otis does his worm in the elbow drop, and he wins the match for Heavy Machinery. He's one half of Heavy Machinery with his good friend Tucker. He wins the match, and Mandy Rose, he hugs her. She is kind of grossed out because, like I said, he was pretty much sweating, but he kind of lifted her up, and he was able to, they made out for a bit, and because it showed the sweet side of Otis. And like I said, I liked the story, and I liked the ending of it. The storytelling was actually very good. The match wasn't, but the storytelling was good. So in my opinion, I give it a C+. And looks like CBS also gave it a C+. But I'm glad that Otis actually won, because I think that the story would have got a worse grade had they made Ziggler win the match. But I'm happy from Otis, though. I mean, and it was nice. Wow. And it's like, yo, Mandy was just like, ooh, she kissed him. I'm like, damn. Yo, give me that spot, man. I needed to face Dolph Ziggler, man. I needed to face Dolph Ziggler. So I was gonna carry her. First thing I'm gonna do, man, I'm gonna take her to my damn hotel. You're damn right, King G, Mandy Rose, and Alexa Bliss. Two baddies. Thank you. Especially when Alexa Bliss said she thought she had a cute butt. I said, you're damn right you do. I'd do anything to date either one of those two. I mean, that Mandy Rose, man, beautiful blonde hair. Just gorgeous, man. Gorgeous. I want her to be the wife of my kids, man, already. I mean, if I'm starting a life of my own, give me 3 kids with Mandy Rose, we Gucci, bro. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, so now that we do that, guys, so I was happy for Otis. Now we go into the next matchup. Ooh, in my opinion, the match of the night, ladies and gentlemen. we have. Well, before I get to that, let's go back into the comment section. Shout out to Tomoko. Chuck Norris got stung by a scorpion, and after 5 days of the agonizing pain, the scorpion finally died. That's right. Man, Tomoko's all over Chuck Norris. Lastly, can sell a match. He is a former champion. Yeah. Yep. Kid Glory says, yeah, Lana is mega fire. Facts. Well, it is Chuck Norris, man. Exactly. And King G says, Mandy Rose is a snow bunny. I said, yeah, hell yeah. Material at its finest. I'm here to show the world Dolph and Mandy Rose is colossal fire. Mandy Rose and Alexa Bliss. Tomoko says, what humanity owes to personalities like Buddha, Moses, and Jesus ranks for me higher than all the achievements of the inquiry and constructive mind, Albert Einstein. I've seen that quote many times by Tomoko whenever she puts it in the comments. And Kid Glory says, Lana, Rhea, Beckley, and Mandy. Oh, yeah. They was making out like it was a porno, Lewis. I was like, oh, yeah. I said, what is this, Pornhub? Like, shh. Is this Brazzers? Is this Bang Bros? Reality Kings? Yo. Is this mofos.com? Don't ask me how I know about that stuff. I mean, you get exposed to certain things, you know, as you get older. I mean, it is what it is when it comes to the environment. It happens. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So now moving on. Whatchamacallit, King G says, WWE keeps disrespecting Lashley, trying to emasculate men, making him look like a goof. He should have been headlined to fight Lesnar. They really screwed up with Bobby Lashley because I really felt like they really could have did something with him. Even with at the time that he was ECW champion, they really should have did something. I really thought that could have been they could have built him up a little bit better, but they decided not to do that. And next, you know, he was gone, and he ended up going to Bellator after that. Had a brief run at TNA and was world champion a couple of times. So he gives you that. So Bobby Lashley is like, he's good in the ring, man. Like, he's got an amazing physique and he's good in the ring. And the thing is, he has such an amazing physique for his age, too. All right, so let's get it. Are you guys ready? The rated R superstar Edge going up against the Viper, the legend killer Randy Orton, in a very personal last man standing match. Now, here's my issue with this match. Appreciate it, 6 foot 200. No doubt, man. Thank you. No doubt, man. Appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. Shout out to you. And let others know about the channel, by the way, man. But appreciate you, 6 foot 200. Appreciate it. So getting back to what I was saying, you know, Edge and Randy Orton, I felt like the match was missing. It was missing intensity. It lacked intensity. Like, you could tell there wasn't that edgy violence that you would expect from the start to a finish of a last man standing match. Like, I just felt like it was missing that violence. I felt like that the violence really didn't pick up until the last 10 minutes of the match, where I felt like it got more violent. That's when I said that if this violence existed throughout, this match would have gotten a higher grade. I know Bleacher Report overrated that and gave it a B+, and I said that's too high. And the thing is, Edge and Orton are definitely better than that. And it's like the build-up for the match was great. It was great. I was happy for Edge, you know, after getting triple fusion neck surgery. You know, he was out for 9 years, had to retire early due to the neck injury that he had suffered the second time, because the first time he suffered the neck injury was in his prime, and he had to get surgery. And doctors said that he was wrestling on borrowed time if he was to go back in the ring. I don't know how Edge was able to make 8 extra years with it, but he did. So that was a blessing, and I was blessed enough to see him. The fact that he came back in the Royal Rumble gave me goosebumps, and he looked good for somebody who did not wrestle for 9 years. The fact that he has a 6-pack and he's in the best shape of his career, his entire career. You know, I thought Edge was a little more bulkier in 2004 because his arms were pretty big. But in terms of like overall shape, like this is the best shape that Edge has ever looked. So like I said, I thought that the match was lacking a lot of violence. I mean, I like the RKO out of nowhere from Randy, but like I said, it was lacking the violence that they needed from the beginning all the way to the middle of the match. And then right when it was starting to leave the middle and we head to the climax, that's when I said I felt like the match got better. But it disappointed for me for the early parts of the match. Like it really wasn't as violent. It just felt like one of those simple empty arena matches. I mean, to each his own, people are going to feel different about it, but I just felt like it lacked, like I said, it was missing that that would have me glued to my seat. But I thought the last 10 minutes did a better job of hooking me as an audience member than what it did in the very beginning to the middle of the match. Well, that's just my personal opinion. Uh, as it said right there, man, there was just a lot of punching and kicking, but it just didn't have that violence. Uh, that a brawl should have in a last man standing match. Because I was like, I've seen better last man standing matches. And a lot of brawls and violence you could see from the very beginning. And what was very cool was I like the fact that Edge showed emotion. That to me was very cool. I thought it was very cool that they showed Edge with emotion, knowing that Randy had RKO'd his wife, Beth Phoenix, knowing that he had 2 daughters at home, but knowing that Randy was one of his closest friends, but the fact that he RKO'd his wife and the fact that he had put him on the shelf for a couple of weeks caused Edge, he had no choice but to pay back. And Edge said that he was going to determine his career on his terms. But ladies and gentlemen, what I found out is that Edge had signed a 3-year deal with the WWE. So now that he's won his match, I'm wondering what superstars are they going to potentially put against Edge now that he's back? And like I said, I hope that his neck can hold up, if it can hold up for those 3 years. Because remember also, Edge is 46 years old. And like I said, Edge doesn't get enough credit for what great of a superstar and decorated of a superstar he is in WWE history. This guy's one of the most decorated champions of all time, 11-time world champion. Doesn't get enough credit for his mic skills and his heel work, because his heel work is some of the best ever. It doesn't get, and the thing is, what I give Edge credit for is he did all this just being in the WWE. That's what was special. So, that's what I liked about it. But I give the match a B minus. I know CBS was a little harsh and gave it a C minus, but I'm gonna give it a B minus. I thought the match was a B minus because I thought the last 10 minutes was an A. But like I said, it wasn't violent enough for me in the beginning. So let's go into the comment section before I get into the next match. We got the Raw Tag Team Championships between the Street Profits, Angel Garza, and Austin. The match was actually this was solid. I think this match could have possibly been a B minus B match between these two. But again, this just came off of Edge and Randy Orton because a lot of people were looking and anticipating. The funny thing is, a lot of people didn't think that match was actually going to do that good between Edge and Orton, and it was starting to look like it wasn't. It looked like it was going to be an average to below average match. But fortunately, the storytelling of the last 10 minutes made up for that to give it a better grade than what it probably should have gotten. But yeah, this match was pretty short. Angel Garza, Austin Theory. The Street Profits retained the titles, and then we had a short segment with Zelina smacking. She pretty much smacked Montez, and then Bianca Belair came in and just pretty much whooped Zelina after that, which was pretty interesting. And then when I looked at all 3 of them, I was like, why is it they kind of reminded me of like the Usos with Naomi? 2 guys, 1 girl. That's what it is. And one of them is married to one of the guys, and because with Jimmy and Jay, Naomi's married to Jimmy Uso. So that's why I kind of get a feeling. And Bianca Belair, let me tell you, man, beautiful chick. and that shorty got a cake. Let's call a spade a spade. And this is where respect to her. She's pretty good in the ring. She can wrestle. Like I enjoy watching her. She's very entertaining to watch. Like as a superstar in the NXT. But man, oh man, that woman is a baddie. Bianca Belair is another person that she could definitely get it, man. Definitely get it. Those are the facts. All right, so we got so the Street Profits, they win and they get a C plus. I'm gonna actually keep the same sentiments with CBS Sports. They're gonna get a C plus from me as well. So we got the SmackDown Women's Championship. I thought this one was solid. I thought this one was solid. Bayley ends up retaining the championship. It was between Sasha Banks, Bayley, Lacey Evans, and Tamina and Naomi. Now, the reason that I said Naomi wasn't going to win is because she is pretty much the female Kofi Kingston. So they were not going to let her win that championship. And, for somebody who should be a much better champion, for me with Naomi, she taps out too easily to all the things, to a lot of these movesets. But I just don't think that Naomi, even with 2 SmackDown Women's Championships, she's one of those feel-good stories. She's not somebody that you can honestly say, can she carry the company? She doesn't come off as a person who is about someone who takes it seriously, that they can really carry the company. Like I said, and she gets the Kofi Kingston treatment. Like, she's good for the moment, but then after that, it's like you just take the belt off of her because she's really not prepped out to what she is meant to be. Tamina's issue is she's been injured. And it's like I really almost don't really know about her character. Like Tamina, she's got moves, don't get me wrong, for someone who is as big as her. But I'm sorry, she is 42 years old and she's never really been able to stay healthy. So it just made no sense to give it to Tamina. She's really never had any real momentum in the WWE. So Tamina, it's nice to say that she, was in the WWE. I mean, obviously her father is Jimmy Superfly Snuka. It sucks that she has to retire, but for me, she has to because she hasn't really been able to stay healthy. She's never really had any real momentum as a female superstar, as a female athlete in the WWE. That's why I just said, nah. And so Lacey Evans, it's not her time yet. She is going to definitely win a couple of women's championships, but it's not her time yet. She's like, to me, she's knocking on the door, but she's just not there yet. She's close, but not there yet. I feel like her time is coming. I don't know when it's going to be, but her time will come because she's got the tools to be a women's champion. I just don't think it's her time yet. Sasha Banks. Now, Bayley and Sasha, their rivalry to me is going to kick off. And I think it's going to be Sasha turning on Bayley. And they'll be challenging each other for the women's championship. I think what possibly might happen is Bayley might be in a championship match with somebody else, and Sasha Banks will cash in her Money in the Bank briefcase and win the title from her best friend, which will set off a rivalry that probably might go into SummerSlam, which is my personal opinion between Bayley and Sasha. The rivalry that should have happened such a long time ago, it's crazy how it's been spotty. But then the WWE all of a sudden makes them friends again when it's like they should have fought in a long time ago. So I think the right move was for Bayley to retain the title and not have Sasha turn on her at WrestleMania. Like I said, if Sasha were to turn on her, I would have loved for this to happen with a crowd. I think it made no sense for her to turn on Bayley with no crowd in this case. Especially because Bayley has done wonderful being the heel that she's been. And she's the longest reigning SmackDown Women's Champion in history. So kudos to Bayley for the character change. It's definitely been a breath of fresh air. None of that Huggies crap, none of that Huggies stuff, Bayley. So it's great. I give the match a B minus. I give it a B minus. We got Gronk winning the 24/7 title. This is all for publicity, and I honestly think that Gronkowski is trying to become a superstar for the WWE, so that's what I just think is going to happen. Here we go. Going into the comments, Kid Glory says, they screwed him dozens of times to fight Lesnar for the Universal Championship. I was interested. Wow. That RKO hit out the jump was nasty. Randy was not playing. Nope. Edge is a decorated legend and a top 4 heel ever. She do talk, Louis. That girl, Bianca. Kid Glory putting up the flames up. Okay, John Cena against The Fiend. Look at it this way. Bray Wyatt got his revenge through storytelling. This was not a match. This was just one of those things to get Cena out of the WWE because he's pursuing a Hollywood career. Some people think that Cena should come back as a heel, going up against Bray Wyatt or with somebody else. I don't know how that's going to work, considering how long Cena has built his reputation from a guy who had ruthless aggression to a guy who became the Doctor of Thugonomics to the guy who became Chain Gang Cena to then the Never Say Die, Fight the Good Fight, 5 Moves of Doom John Cena with the Fruity Pebble t-shirts, Mr. Hustle, Loyalty, and Respect. Yeah. It's hard for me for him to all of a sudden go heel, especially with the fact that to me, Cena is kind of done with wrestling, and I could just kind of tell with how many part-time appearances he makes. And I think Cena is willing to take a step back and really make this about the youth, and it's about the movement. I mean, Cena is a 16-time world champion. What else does he need to prove? He doesn't really need to be in the business at this point. And like I said, people want to criticize Cena a lot, but I got to give him credit because of guys like him. Kevin Owens is up here. Guys like Sami Zayn are up here. Cesaro was able to prove in people's eyes that he was actually very good. And I got to ask myself, why doesn't Cesaro even get a push to try to become champion? I don't understand it. He may not sound great on the mic, but there's other guys who have never been really good on the mic, but they've been champion. And with the way Cesaro comes off, he can do things that will get the crowd excited. So I'm telling you that Cesaro should be getting a push by the WWE. I don't understand why he doesn't get a push. I've never understood that. Kid Glory says Bayley's been straight dominating as champion. She's been winning matches in a few minutes nowadays. My boy Gronk is 24/7 champ. Big match Cena. Tomoko says, who do you think will win? Whoever touches the other person first wins. Kendoka versus Fencer. Don't know. Never heard of those two. All right. So getting back to John Cena and Bray Wyatt. The storytelling was very good. And they varied to pretty much different points in Cena's career. From the Dr. Thugonomics to when he first came in against Kurt Angle. And pretty much The Fiend pretty much brought a culmination of everything to full circle by putting the mandible claw in Cena for the 1, 2, 3 as to kind of Cena's exit away from the company. Maybe it's for the time being. And like I said, I thought that the creative storytelling behind this was great. This was not a match. This should have been called John Cena Enters the Firefly Funhouse. That's it. Like if he was entering the House of Mirrors or Cena was entering the Haunted House. That's what they should have called it because that's what it was. It really wasn't a match. This was just really much a story. We went back into the time machine. We came back to the present. And all this pretty much made that it was the end of John Cena and The Fiend gets his revenge. My question now is what happens with The Fiend now that he got his vengeful loss? There's no fair way to write about this match in a small blurb, but it was bizarre and effective way of doing something. This was unique and it was crazy. I had the same reaction as Titus O'Neil. What the hell did I just watch? What the hell did I just watch? So it was very weird. But congratulations to The Fiend for getting his victory back. So I have to give the WWE a lot of credit with Taker and Styles and with The Fiend and John Cena. I hated the fact that it wasn't a match, but probably people didn't want to see it. It was just more for entertainment purposes, and they did a pretty good job. But Cena needs to cut his hair, though. I'm sick of that comb over. Okay, and last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, we have the WWE Championship. Now, Drew McIntyre against Brock Lesnar. I knew this match was going to be short, but just like the Universal Championship match, it was, again, two guys pretty much putting the same moves. So we had 3 F5s that McIntyre kicked out of, and then he was able to hit 4 Claymore kicks. And after 2 more, Lesnar was down and out, and Drew McIntyre became the new WWE champion. Now, I'm happy that the belt is off of Brock Lesnar, and I hope Brock Lesnar takes time off so that we can see the WWE Championship defended on a regular basis. And I'm actually happy for Strowman because now the Universal title is going to be defended on a regular basis now. The only way that it'll be ruined is if Vince brings back Goldberg or he brings back Lesnar. They do this stuff again where they just hold the championship. Brock Lesnar goes on his little revenge tours to people he loses to, but then gets the comeback, and then Paul Heyman again makes him look so dominant when Lesnar has not been dominant in quite a while. So congratulations to Drew. The only question is that how long is he going to be able to sustain this until the fans treat him like Roman Reigns and they want the belt on somebody else? Because the fans are never really satisfied. And I think that McIntyre, to me, is better as a heel than he is a face. That's my personal opinion. Like I said, I wonder where they're going to go with this, but I'm actually happy that McIntyre, he's waited 11 years for this opportunity. He is world champion. The guy looks like a man chiseled out of stone. He could be a Greek god. He's a gladiator, a 300 Sparta. The guy looks the part. And the thing is, McIntyre can do a lot more in the ring, but because they have Brock Lesnar as Mr. Suplex, McIntyre has to be Mr. Claymore. And I didn't like it, but this is another match that could have used the crowd because it would have been a nice moment for the fans because you get rid of Goldberg and Lesnar, the two guys that left the company in their primes in 2004. Both of them get defeated on the same night at WrestleMania. Both of them were their respected champions of their respective brand. And then Braun Strowman and Drew McIntyre are both having their first reign as world champions. So I think it's important to know that it's great that we have a feel-good story, but then it gets ruined because, again, McIntyre, there's no crowd to be able to have that feel-good moment. It was even the same thing with Otis. If there was a crowd, it probably would have got a higher grade. So even though that there's advantages to not having people in the arena, there's advantages to having people in the arena, and that's when you have people in the arena, when you have matches like Lesnar and McIntyre, Goldberg against Strowman, Otis against Dolph Ziggler, the ladder match between Morrison, Jimmy Uso, and Kofi Kingston. Those type of matches need the crowd because they bring that excitement as well. Okay, so now, so McIntyre with Lesnar gets a B. I'm going to give it a B minus. I knew it was going to be that one. So it lacked the punch of a triumph. So pretty much those are all the matches for the night. What do I give it as a grade? And people have to remember, Cena was handed opportunities after he became champion, but it took Cena about 4 to 5 years to finally, get the opportunity. But it was because he was connecting with the fanboys real well once he became the doctor of thugonomics. Vince knew he could make a Hulk Hogan 2 out of that. But you also got to give Batista credit because They were the two biggest stars in the Ruthless Aggression era. And that was with even with Triple H winning world titles. Crazy, right? K Glory says Cena built his reputation straight from the ground. He has my respect. Also, he has numerous records. Tomoko says you should have read the too much information comment of mine. It was pretty inspirational. Cena is WWE. It won't be the same without him, honestly. Also, a top 3 mic talker of all time. Yeah, I got to give Cena his props. Unlike Hogan, he actually can wrestle, even though at times it looks awkward. Because they'll complain about him, but Cena's done way more in the ring than Hogan ever has in his life. And that's a fact. Kid Glory says, congrats to Drew. He's beasting and feasting Lesnar for months. It's only right Drew whooped him. I remember Drew when he was in 3MB. Also, his Claymore kick is pretty dope. It is. I just don't like the countdown. He needs to eliminate that. Superfax and Batista is underrated, I felt. Yeah, Batista doesn't get enough recognition, man, for the great champion he was. I always felt that his first run as world champion was actually my favorite because it was a side of Batista that I had never seen before. He was having a lot of fun. I got to see him be funny. It's like I said, I got to see a different side of Batista that I didn't see when he was in Evolution. So it was cool. And he was still allowed to be dominant. Like, you could see the fun side of Batista where he could show vulnerability. But then when you piss him off, he becomes a beast. And when I think of the beast, when I think of Batista, the animal is a very fitting name for Batista. And I used to love when Triple H would introduce him. He is the destroyer, the animal, Batista. The way he would say his name, he made Batista like if he was dangerous, he was dominant. Like that's the one thing I got to give Triple H credit for. He did a really good job with Batista, and he built him up very slowly. I got to give Triple H a lot of credit for that and put Batista over. I got to give it to him, man. I liked his feuds with Edge and Taker a lot, too. Yeah, those are very underrated rivalries he had. I love this trilogy with Taker. Those don't get talked about a lot. People focus on Rock and Triple H, Rock and Austin Triple H. I mean, and rightfully so. I mean, because those were the biggest rivalries in the Attitude Era, and they drew a lot of ratings, and the storytelling was incredible. But the ones in the Ruthless Aggression Era does not get enough credit, and I feel like that they really should pay more attention to some of the rivalries in the Ruthless Aggression Era that were really good. Triple H never beat his Batista in his career. Well, Triple H finally got to beat him at WrestleMania last year, but before that, in high-profile main events, Triple H was winless against Batista. Wow. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, overall for the WrestleMania product, I would have to give it a C. It gets a C because there were only about 4, maybe 5 good matches in the entire card. Everything else was kind of like, what was the point of it being there? Like I said, some of the things felt rushed, but it is what it is. But ladies and gentlemen, this is your boy Lewis with another one, man. I hope you guys enjoyed, man. Make sure you hit the like. Make sure you subscribe. Appreciate you guys, man. As always, man, from the Lewis Sports Network. Bless up. Live, laugh, love. Thank y'all for watching. And we're about to head to the Michael Jordan Eastern Conference competition. I just have to reset the time and take a little mini break, and we'll be back in just about 20 minutes, all right? So once again, man, peace, everybody. Come on back to the